productivity debt. I adore this idea. So when Matthew Hussey came on the show, he has this quote from his book Love Life, where he's talking about how he is a internal tyrant. He says, "I struggle to believe I'm worthy of moments of joy and peace without first putting myself through a brutal schedule, monitoring my productivity levels down to the minute. Perhaps some people apply this earn your cookie mindset in ways that lead to healthy achievements. Not me. Mine is a mutation whereby joy and self-compassion are regularly outlawed by an internal tyrant who decides when I've been flogged enough for one day. Just when I'm about to collapse, a voice inside says, okay, give him half an hour of peace before bed, but make sure he knows we'll start again, bright and early in the morning." And this insight hurts my soul, largely because I see it in myself. And Oliver Berkman, who wrote 4,000 Weeks, has a name for this bottomless pit of self-imposed expected efficiency, productivity debt. He says that many people, by which he meant him, seem to feel as if they start each day off in the morning with a kind of productivity debt, which they must struggle to pay off throughout the day in hopes of reaching a zero balance by the time the evening comes around. He said that few things felt more basic to his experience of adulthood than this vague sense that he's falling behind and need to claw his way back up to some minimum standard of output. It's as if he needs to justify his existence by staying on top of things in order to stave off some ill-defined catastrophe that might otherwise come crashing down upon his head, which is why he is such an enthusiastic proponent of keeping a done list, which starts empty first thing in the morning, and then you gradually fill it with whatever you accomplish throughout the day. And his argument is that each entry is a cheering reminder that you could have, after all, spent the day doing nothing constructive. Yet, look at what you did instead. And if you're in a serious psychological rut, he says you can just lower the bar for what gets to count as an accomplishment. Nobody ever needed to know that you added brushed teeth or made coffee to your done list. But a done list isn't just a way to feel better about yourself. You need to give up the impossible quest to pay off your productivity debt and instead start thinking about each day as an opportunity to move a small but meaningful set of items over to your done list. And you'll find that you make better choices about what to focus on. And because you'll actually make more progress on them by wasting less time and energy being distracted by the stress about all of the other stuff that you're unavoidably neglecting. So paying off this imaginary productivity debt completely, in other words, working so hard and so efficiently that you no longer feel like you're falling behind, is literally impossible. It's not just grueling and unpleasant. And in the modern world of work, there is no limit to the number of emails that you might receive and the demands that your boss might make and the ambitions that you might have for your career. So there's no reason to believe that you'll ever get to the end of them. Meanwhile, modern media, especially social media, is a giant machine for exposing you to a bottomless news feed of far more suffering than St. Francis of Assisi himself was ever asked to care about. So whenever Oliver manages to remember that this is just the way things are, that the cosmic debt that he seems to imagine that he has to pay off is, in fact, inherently impossible to pay off, he finds that he is far better able to relax in the midst of having too much to do, as opposed to making relaxation dependent on first getting on top of it all, which he never will. And crucially, he thinks he's better placed to actually do things, the productive and good citizen things that were the focus of all of this angst in the first place. Look, there they are on the done list. Not many of them, perhaps, at least by comparison to the immeasurable galaxy of things that need doing. Still, there are generally quite a few more than 0 items there by the time that 6 p.m. rolls around. And then I think he said at 6 p.m. he usually mixes a gin and tonic, but that tends to not get added to the list. Generally, this idea of productivity debt, I think, puts a name on a sensation that lots of us feel. This odd requirement to sort of whip ourselves into submission, this odd sense that we are falling behind. He has this great term, what is it he says? earlier on, he talks about this vague sense that you are falling behind. And it's just this sort of ambient thing. He needs to justify his existence by staying on top of things. This vague sense he's falling behind and need to claw my way back up to some minimum standard of output. And this is kind of, I guess, the dark side of being interested in productivity and efficiency, that you set yourself this unbelievable bar and you're probably excited by lots of different things. You're probably good at lots of different things. So the options that you have in front of you are high, and you hold yourself to high standards, and you want to make an impact on the world, and you want to maximize your brief sliver of time whilst you're existing in the 2 eternities of darkness. Here you are. This is your time. I'm going to get the most out of it. And what that ends up doing is this sort of permanent imbalance between the things you want to do and the things that you end up doing, which actually means that even the things you do have this odd sort of tarnished sense to them. I certainly know this like unbelievably well myself. Doing a live show, and it's the 3rd show that I've ever done, and it's London, and it's sold out on a Saturday night at Leicester Square Theatre or wherever we were last year, and everything goes well, and it's still early on in my career, and yet when I finish up, I'll look back and focus on those 2 little sections that I didn't quite get right, and forget the 1 hour and 58 minutes of pretty much perfect, exactly what I wanted and expected and would hope to get out of it. But I'll just focus on those other 2 things. And this sort of negativity bias that we have, plus this sense that we should always be doing more, always be working harder. If you've ever gone through a period of really intense work, and all that you think about is, God, I just wish I could have, 1 weekend at home. I just don't want to be traveling again, or I don't want to be working again, or, I don't want to have to get up on time. I just wish I could have 1 lie-in. And then after 2 lie-ins, you now think, I really need to get back on that grind. I'm feeling a little bit lazy. And you're like, hang on a second. You just said only 48 hours ago that you couldn't wait to get a little bit of a break. Yeah, for the sort of type A go-getter people, I think this is just an ambient demon that sits on everybody's shoulder. And Matthew's idea of this internal tyrant that's constantly whipping him, I think, is pretty illuminating. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Productivity debt is just so fundamental to how lots of people see the world. This episode is brought to you by Element. Summer hits different when you're actually hydrated. That tired, foggy, muscle crampy feeling most people chalk up to heat or exhaustion, it might be electrolytes, and plain water alone won't fix it, which is why Element is such a game changer. It's a 0-sugar electrolyte drink mixed with sodium, potassium, and magnesium in the exact ratio your body needs. No sugar, no food dyes, no artificial junk. And this summer they've dropped something new, lemonade salt. It's like a lemon popsicle grew up, got its life together, and started supporting your adrenal system and your hydration. And best of all, there's a no questions asked refund policy. So you can buy it, try it for as long as you want, and if you don't like it, they'll give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. That's how confident they are that you'll love it. Plus, they offer free shipping in the US. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. Would you look at that? Clip is already over, but if you want more, don't be sad. The full episode is available right here. Go on.